Greetings! Welcome to part 6 of my series on the science of Hinduism. Let's see what Plato already has to say today.
Some of the tales might sound very strange and unreal to some people.
Strange and unreal. Yeah, that sounds about right.
But, here's one example. In the Ramayana, there was a story about how Ram, an incarnation of God, fought a demon called Ravan, which is really a rebellious human.
Well, hold on a moment there, Plato already. If I understand correctly what it is you're trying to communicate, it sounds like you're saying that the demon character from this story was in reality just a rebellious human. Which sounds like a perfectly down-to-earth, realistic explanation of the situation, but it makes it seem like you might be kind of cherry-picking just how much of this Hindu stuff you actually take seriously, which is a little unexpected since earlier in your video you had an annotation where you said that all the religion is from a higher power. So I'm wondering, are you thinking that this higher power sometimes lies to us? Or is it maybe just not accurate to say that all the religion's from a higher power?
In one of the instances, to get to his land in Sri Lanka, he had to build a sea bridge with primitive men, They weren't totally human. Evolution would call them primitive man.
Well, if you're talking about the tailed, semi-divine monkey men from the story, I think what evolution would have to say about them is they're actually nowhere to be found in the fossil record. Right? We don't have any evidence that these creatures ever actually existed. I do understand why you'd be confused, though, since, of course, humans are descended from earlier primates. But no species of hominin has been a tailed species. So it does appear that the monkey men from this story are actually mythical creatures.
Well, not too long ago, NASA found, who knows very little to none about Hindu religion in India, found what they call some sort of mysterious sea bridge at the bottom of a river between India and Sri Lanka, and they dated it back to what evolution deems primitive man. And you can look this up yourself.
And that, of course, is precisely what I did. And it turns out that this is actually some distorted game of telephone bullshit that's been circulating through the internet amongst certain religious folk and conspiracy theorists that NASA has actually responded to, pointing out that while they've been taking pictures of the area, they're not actually responsible for any scientific discoveries there. The geological formations that people are talking about have been known about for centuries. So it turns out it's actually been well established for some time now that there was once a natural land bridge connecting India to Sri Lanka, just like there was once a natural land bridge connecting Asia to the Americas, which of course is what ancient humans used to walk from Asia to America, resulting in the Native Americans, right? Similarly, it's known that Homo erectus got to Sri Lanka by using the land bridge that connects India to Sri Lanka. It's just that now both of these land bridges are partially submerged in water. Don't get me wrong. Resting on the sand of this natural bridge between India and Sri Lanka are rocks that actually predate the sand. And according to some archaeologists and geologists, the only way it makes sense for there to be rocks that are older than the sand upon which they lay is if those rocks were put there by humans. It turns out that's actually a short-sighted perspective. It's a well-known geological phenomenon for old rocks to resurface due to, tectonic shifting, earthquakes, stuff like that. So while some scholars think that these rocks were put here by humans, the mainstream academic opinion seems to be that old rock has resurfaced and just kind of collapsed and crumbled all over the area. But Plato already does have more to say about Rama's bridge down in his description section, so let's have a look at that.
Ram's sea bridge is over 1 million years old, and its cause, age, location, as stated in the Vedas, is basically in agreement with modern science.
I'm assuming that when you say the Vedas, what you're really talking about is the Ramayana, which of course was written later. That being said, I've not found any modern scientists who think that there were humans building a bridge between India and Sri Lanka over 1 million years ago.
It was made during the Treta Yuga, which lasted for 1,296,000 years, and ended over 869,000 years ago.
What the hell is the Treta Yuga? I'm looking this shit up on Wikipedia. Treta Yuga is the second out of the 4 yugas, or ages of mankind, in the religion of Hinduism. Okay, play it already. That sounds to me like some religious bullshit lacking any empirical credibility whatsoever.
Former director of the Geological Survey of India explained that it'd be impossible for this to be a natural formation.
Former director? That doesn't sound very up to date. What does the current one say? Seeing as how no one has presented any actual evidence that we're dealing with an artificial bridge here, I would really like to know why this former director is so convinced that it would be impossible for it to be a natural formation.
Archaeological studies confirm signs of human inhabitants in Sri Lanka that date back to the primitive age of approximately 1,750,000 years ago, which is approximately how old modern science says the bridge is.
Play it already. The numbers you're showing on screen there are just not matching up with what I found in my research. Again, Homo sapiens didn't exist that long ago. Homo erectus did, but they didn't get to Sri Lanka until like 500,000 years ago, maybe. That's actually a pretty generous estimate. It's probably more recently than that. But I think what you might be doing, either you or one of your source materials, you might be just kind of conflating the Sri Lankan Homo erectus with the first Homo erectus to emerge in Africa, because 1,750,000 years ago, that sounds like an estimate that's closer to when Homo erectus first came on the scene. Suffice it to say, it looks to me like the story of Rama's bridge is a rather wild and outlandish story that's used to explain something that really doesn't require a wild and outlandish explanation. It's really pretty mundane. Well, that concludes part 6 of the series. Do all of you return for part 7. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next one. So have a good one, guys, and peace.